And now, it's that time of the week once again. Welcome to the Departure Lounge podcast with your hosts, Tom Whittle and Steve Wooldridge. Your ticket to the home of aviation podcasts. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode number 46 of the Departure Lounge podcast here on the Departure Lounge YouTube channel. Slight apologies for the fact that we are starting a little bit late. On my streaming program that I use, I went in to do a test earlier, completely forgot that I was in the test, and went live and completely forgot that that's not what I was actually intending to use. So slight delay on that one, so apologies for that. Anyway, we are here and we are good to go. So my name is Tom Whittle, and joining me this evening, as always, is, of course, he's asked me to do it, so I'm going to do it. It's the sexiest man in the South. He's asked me to say it. It is, of course, Steve Wooldridge. Steve, good evening to you. How are you on this Wednesday evening?
Yeah, no, all good. Tom, even everyone at home and catching up later in the week. Yeah, really good. It's been another week of homework subject. Hopefully you'll enjoy the show tonight. So, yeah, all good. Thanks, mate.
Absolutely. Have you had a good week so far?
Yeah, it's been good. I had Monday off. I went to see the 747 arrive into Bournemouth. So that was a massive bonus to be able to catch that. And hopefully she'll be back in at some point. But yeah, we've been really fortunate at Bournemouth recently, that's for sure. We've had a couple of 747s in, and obviously our resident 340s and all the other stuff that comes in. We're very, very lucky here.
Wonderful. We shall see you very shortly. Also joining us this evening is our resident comment reader / contributor / most northern man to grace the podcast. It is, of course, Ian Hartley. Ian, a good evening to you. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Tom. Good evening to you as well. Welcome to tonight's show, everyone, and everyone sat at home and everybody who's going to listen later in the week. Let's hope it's a good one.
Absolutely. Yes. So we it was a slight delay due to the fact that my stupidity seems to have got in the way then, but we are here anyway, so that's...
I think you would have got hang of it by now, Tom, after 46 weeks.
It's not easy. It's not easy at all.
Click. Oops. Wrong one.
It's not easy. I did the test earlier and completely forgot that I was still in it. So yeah, that's why it wasn't working.
That's fair enough.
But yes, wonderful. I'll just take you off screen quickly. We'll bring Steve and we'll bring Ian. There we go.
Hey.
All three of us are
Hi,
here.
Steve.
Oh, how are you doing? All right, Ian?
I think
Here we
there's
go
a satellite
again.
delay down to Dorset.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve, you are massively delayed right now.
Yeah, this is going to go well, isn't it?
I would say maybe come back and rejoin.
Yeah.
We'll take him off screen for now. Can't do a show when he's delayed. It's just, it doesn't work. Anyway, so we are here for episode 46. We are here to do a celebration of the Boeing 757. But before we do, we are doing some housekeeping. So you can find us on our social medias, which are down below in the description. You can click on those at any time to give the channel a subscription on Instagram, Discord, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch, because we do some gaming streams on Twitch now as well. So if you fancy checking them out when we do them every Friday and Saturday, although not this weekend, because I'm a very busy boy this weekend. Excuse me. So Find us on our social medias if you wish to stay in touch with us. And of course, we'll put the social medias out on the comment. I'll just get rid of I've just seen your tag there, so I'll get rid of that. So we'll put them up throughout the show as they go, not just the channel, but Steve and Ian as well, if you want to follow them. Also, we have in our also in the description, I should say, we also have the shop, which you can buy our newly released merch, and of course, ones that are already here. Ian, would you like to show yours off? Although you can't
get this one anymore, can you?
You can't grab that one anymore. No, but it's still.
This is a one-off.
Yes,
and it's up for auction.
For auction. 50 G's.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll just see if he's back before we carry on.
I'll take a Megalodon shark card for GTA.
Yeah. Are you delayed, Steve?
No.
I think he's doing that on purpose, isn't
he? Yeah.
Hopefully we're good. Is that better?
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah.
Give us a thumbs up. That's good
job.
enough.
We're back. Yeah. We're all good. So you can find our merch shop in the description below. You can also you can buy the limited edition Lingus t-shirt, which runs out in the next 11 days. So you can find that on the site as well. We'll get to why Jer's not here in a minute. I feel like there's other things, but we'll go on to it. So in regards to Facebook, we have our own sort of community chat, which is super funny to go in. There's a few of us in there. Me, Steve, and Ian are all in it. Jer is in it as well. So if you fancy having a chat with us away from the podcast, let us know by contacting us, and we'll put you into that chat so you can sort of chat with us throughout the week, not just on the show. And lastly, if you wish
to faint-hearted, I would put a disclaimer on that.
Jack's a rascal. There's no two ways about it.
Absolutely. Animal.
Definitely. Also, if you wish to be a guest on the show at any stage, do drop us a message on any of the social medias we have put, and we will get you on the show pretty much as soon as possible. I've also now just put a poll in the chat to grab your opinions as to whether you enjoyed the new intro. I know Jack did. Jack Rolls says, "Oh, that intro is class." I'd had to say that in a very posh accent because that's how you do it. So good stuff. So we'll get on to this evening's show. But before we do, Ian, if you'd like to just run through some comments, and then we'll get on to why Jer's not here in a minute.
Yeah. So good evening to everyone. Rob Brown's commenting on your picture there, Tom, saying it's a nice picture of the Nimrod. It is a nice,
it's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
You want one? You got to go to East Midlands Aero Park for that.
Happy days. Yeah, it's a nice picture. That Duncan O'Hare boys, I've just booked my flights to Thailand, Phuket on February the 27th. Qatar Airways from Dublin to Doha, Boeing 787-8, and from Doha to Phuket on an Airbus A330-300. Sounds like a cool trip to me.
Very nice, yeah.
Lovely, very nice.
All first class, I hope, Duncan.
Yeah.
Ryan Bowmore, hello all. Martin Wooldridge as well. Good evening. So good evening to you, Ryan, and good evening to you, Martin. And Jack has also made another comment as well, but in Jack's true accent, that 747 was absolutely amazing. Alpha Kilo, without a doubt, pleasure to have them. There you go. And that's how Jack talks.
If ever you want to butcher an accent, jeez.
Welcome to Bournemouth.
Oh, yeah, you've upset Bournemouth today, Ian.
Yeah, time for your internet to go down.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Did not expect that whatsoever.
He's been practicing all week, clearly.
Yeah, good Lord. That's why he's got the drink now, in case his throat runs a little bit.
I've been watching reruns of Wales or Gummidge.
Yeah. Fantastic.
It's like a documentary out down there, isn't it?
You want to come down Cornwall, mate? It's a lot worse.
True.
Steve will tell you that.
I love the Cornish. Absolutely beautiful. Nothing against them.
Good lad. So we're here to do some early celebrations for the Boeing 757, which will celebrate its 40th anniversary on February 19th, as it will be 40 years on that day that the 757 first took flight. It's hard to believe, Steve, poet and don't even know it, that the 757 is actually 40 years old, or will be 40 years old in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, no, it's it. It's incredible. It's had a great lifespan. It started, well, it got safety certificates in 82, and it had 7 months of test flights before it actually sort of went into service. And the first 40 aircraft were shared out between Eastern and British Airways. Eastern used them to fly from Atlanta down to Tampa, and British Airways they used them to go from Heathrow to Belfast, sort of as almost like a hop-in flight. But obviously, as the show goes on, you'll know that their range was far more expansive than those routes that they were offering sort of in the early days of it. That's for sure.
Mm. Ian, even for nearly 40 years old, it still looks like it could fit into aviation nowadays, couldn't it?
I think so. I think it fills that gap in market, doesn't it? When I was doing my research, I was looking at, for instance, take the A321 out of the equation because I don't want to talk. That's an Airbus. So I was looking more towards 737 MAX 10s and things like that. Thinking now Boeing are doing away with a 757, which has got this like immense seating capacity for a narrow-bodied plane. And they're not replacing it with another narrow body with the same kind of seating. So I was trying to compare whether a 737 MAX 10, when it does eventually, start rolling off the production line, would actually meet the criteria of a 757, and it doesn't really cut it. So it's not far off, I think, and I think they're just banking on people wanting the bigger 737s. I just think developing, I don't know, they could have re-engined it or something, Tom, couldn't they? You can go on about it, can't you? But it'll all evolve, won't it? I would imagine, over it, sure. So
we'll go on to the sort of the what replaces it, sort of a little bit later on. But we'll go into sort of the history first of the 757, how it came about, the different variants, etc. All the airlines that sort of either flew it or still fly it. And we'll also ask for everyone that's watching, if you have any memories or any opinions, or if you've got any pictures or footage, send it to us.
I've got my Aurora Borealis one.
You do indeed. Do you want to send that through? Do you want to send it through?
Yeah, I can do. Yeah.
Okay, so I've got some videos which I'll play at some point today as well, or tonight I should say. But if anyone's got any pictures, do send them through on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever you want to send them onto, and we'll show them throughout the evening. But yeah, let's jump into it anyway. So 757, obviously a narrow body airliner designed by Boeing. It was given the designation of the 7N7, which was to be a twin jet successor to the 727, which then received its first orders in 1978. So hard to even believe then that, like, way back in the 70s, so like getting close to nearly 50 years, that there were airlines out there that were like, we fancy some of this 757 at the time. Obviously not thinking it was going to be anything of the the likes of being as successful as it sort of is now.
Yeah, no, that's it, isn't it? Like you say, but they sort of offered to do variants of the 727 to stretch it or whatever, and I think with the 767 in development, it gave them the opportunity to develop a whole new aircraft and sort of make it more modern for the times, and that sort of robbing a lot of the 767 ideas out of it, and sort of that's sort of how it sort of was born, wasn't it, in a sense?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. I know there's a few different concepts which, if you have a look, sort of by googling them, there's quite a few. I think there was one in particular that I think they were trying to make it like
a T-wing,
T-tail. That's it. Yeah,
T-tail.
A T-tail
Yeah,
aircraft. In initial designs and things like that. Same with the 767 as well. But 757 initially was designed as a T-tail aircraft, and that obviously was then scrapped to the design that we know today. Obviously, as I said, the first flight of the aircraft was February 19th, 1982, and then was certified by 21st December of the same year. Of course, Eastern Airlines placed the original 757-200 into commercial service on New Year's Day, 1983. Eastern Airlines, of course, quite popular with the 757. Obviously, the first ones that were delivered had the 757 on the tail, just like the thumbnail shows. So it's for Eastern, it was quite a good plane for them to use on their particular route.
That's it. I've got a picture of that in front of me now, and it's a proper bonny looking plane as well. It looks really nice with the 757 on the tail with the blue lines on it.
Yeah, interestingly, the 757 was the first Boeing manufactured aircraft that stepped away from American power sources. They went obviously on to Rolls Royces, but before that, Boeing had always had a history of using American sort of power units for their aircraft there. So it had the potential to be controversial in the American market, sort of stepping away from it. But obviously, it worked for them.
I think one of. Oh, sorry, Tom. I
right.
think one of the reasons for doing it, they wanted to move away from. I don't know what kind of engine you call them, like on the 727, and even like the 3-engine jets, like your Tri-Stars and what have you. And they wanted to move into the more fuel economical, aren't they? Were the high engine bypass engines or something, which are the sort of the engines what we know today, and that's why they chose that RB211, didn't they? Because it was one of these high ratio bypass engines or whatever it was.
Well, I know.
And adding on to what Tom was saying about the T-tail at the top as well, they found out as well if they took away the T-tail and made it lower and put it a normal horizontal stabilizers on it, they could increase the seating capacity inside it as well. And that's another reason why they did that, to increase the seating. Something to do with the angle of the back of the plane didn't have to be as steep, and they could put more seats in it. So that was a good shout, really, weren't it? I think it made the plane. And like I say, they wanted, I think round about the time when it came out, there was a bit of an oil crisis going on, and they wanted something to save them money. So that was another reason. You've got high capacity, haven't you? And you've got probably one of the most economic engines, what we're about at the time as well, haven't you?
Well, even the weight ratio was a lot less than its sort of predecessors, and that, like the 27, and like you say, it only carried 2 engines rather than 3. It's going to make a huge economical difference to
it would probably as well why they chose the RB211 engines. There weren't probably that many high bypass engines about at that time, and we all know that them engines are far too powerful for that plane, to be quite honest. And probably they chose that because it was the only thing really commercially available at the time. So,
well, it's like when we spoke to Johnny Smith on, I can't think what episode it was.
18, maybe
18, I think it was, something like that. He said himself that the 757 is incredibly overpowered. But just by looking at like some of the takeoff performances as well, they call it sort of the pocket rocket, I guess, as well, by the steep takeoff angle and things like that. And when TUI retired their 757s, I think it was the last one that went out of Manchester. If you've not seen the pictures of that, such a steep angle of takeoff, just to show you just how overpowered it actually is, then do have a look at the on Google or Facebook groups and things like that, and have a look at some of the pictures, because the way that it's almost unnatural for to see a plane at that steep of an angle at takeoff, but the 757 was capable of doing it.
Yeah, well, those overpower engine was part of its appeal to the customers. You could get into airfields that they wouldn't usually get into. They could get to hot climate, cold climate, airports at altitude. Like, obviously, if your runway's X amount of meters long and you can't get a 7.4 in there, then the 7.5 was getting in there and out every day of the week. And that was part of its appeal, to get sort of those regional airports connected to. They were sort of mainly used in America when they first started, let's say, but they were connecting New York to wherever, which wouldn't usually have that connection because they had the performance to get in and out of these smaller runways on the back of these amazing engines there.
Mm.
I think Freddie Laker touched on it as well, didn't he? In his thinking back to when we did Freddie Laker, but that if you can climb steep and get to your flight level quicker, you're saving a damn sight more fuel as well. In a steeper climb will get you to where you're going quicker, and so you're saving money as well that way as well, aren't you?
I think that was one of the reasons, wasn't it? Why why it was deemed to be sort of such a success especially at that time in the 80s and stuff, because you've got that steep angle of takeoff, and like I think Boeing sort of listened to what Freddie Laker said and thought, well, we'll try and I don't think it was done on purpose, but the fact that they managed to do that was, I think it was a credit to them, because then they could actually sell this plane as really sort of fuel efficient for the time, to all these airlines that were looking for something a little bit different to sort of your 727s, and because there wasn't really a whole lot back then, like people, they had like aging DC-8s and 707s and stuff, so they needed something to kind of fill that, like I said, like we'll be saying this term all the time, but like fill that market of the gap between 727s and then your 747s that airlines were using. So it's like the perfect plane at the right time. I just wish it was a little bit like later that they used it, because then I think it may have got a little bit more success, and we'll go on to a little bit more as to what I believe in a little bit later. But
it did a perfect job of connecting east to west coast in America, which was
absolutely
like not that possible beforehand, and obviously later on it managed transatlantic flights and whatever. But like I said, it was huge in America purely because its versatility. There was nowhere really it couldn't go sort of in a mainstream airport, either east or west coast, and it did it very, very well and very, very efficiently in that era.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because originally it was designed for domestic and sort of like your medium haul shuttle services and transcontinental US services as well, before ETOPS allowed it to fly intercontinentally. So the ETOPS sort of helped it by allowing airlines to use a small plane if they want to fill up let's say a large aircraft at the time, and get across to here in the UK or different parts of Europe by using not a lot of plane.
Yeah, well, yeah, you say about the ETOPS. It was the first ETOPS rated aircraft. That was one of its legacies, but that became the first ever aircraft to gain ETOPS status. And there was a video I watched on YouTube actually, and it was just showing the 757 flying around this mountain range, proving it could do it on one engine, and it took off efficiently and cruised efficiently, landed efficiently on one engine. Absolutely no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a cracking little plane, and it's definitely served a lot of airlines over the years that have been able to, especially sort of those that fly to places like Innsbruck and stuff. Like TUI flew theirs to Innsbruck, because it's such a mountainous range, the steep takeoff performance allowed it to get out of there with no hassle whatsoever. So yeah, it's an aircraft that has definitely proven its worth over the last 40 odd years, I would say, to many airlines, which will go on to the operators at some point. But we'll jump on to like the different variants that were offered, and of which, believe it or not, there are five offerings of the 757s that were available. So you had, of course, the standard 757-200, which was the original version of the plane, which entered service with Eastern Airlines. Excuse me. Of course, the winglets obviously went onto the plane as well, which then gave it the wingleted version, which is what we see nowadays with the likes of Iceland Air, and what we saw with American and United and TUI, of course, Jet2 as well. I've got a few of theirs. The first engine to power the 757-200, which is a rare engine, is the Rolls-Royce RB211 535C engines, which were then upgraded to the ones that we know now that make the amazing growling noise on takeoff, which is the RB211 535 E4s, which were in play by October 1984. So it's hard, even hard then, to believe that they've been, those engine types have been around for that long as well.
Yeah, so the 300 variant was first introduced in March 1999, and they only delivered 55 aircraft because essentially the 767 did the same job, so it wasn't overly popular. But interesting, of those 55 aircraft delivered, all 55 of them are still actually in service today. So despite the 300 not being popular, it certainly sort of stood the test of time. But the 200s, there's 913 of those around. Obviously, these days there's not quite as many as those, but the 200 was certainly their sort of their main event.
It's the same with you can compare that to the 767. The 767-400s. All of the 767-400s that were built, not many of them are all in service still, while 767-300s are starting to make their way out of airlines fleets, like American and Delta retiring a few of theirs as well. So whilst it's not successful, it proves quite handy for airlines like Condor as well, who obviously fly to holiday destinations and can take the 757 and do it a little bit more efficiently maybe than the 767.
Yeah, so I think they were concerned about tail strikes, weren't they, when they stretched it longer, because obviously it was a very sort of long, narrow aircraft, and you'll be able to tell me they had to fit something, didn't they, to stop it tail striking?
Skid pan or something?
Yeah, something along those lines.
Because they've done the same. They've done the same with the A321. The A321 has a skid pan, and fun fact, even though it's not about 757, but I learnt this the other day, is that the angle that the A321 comes in is completely different to the A320 because of the fact that the fuselage is stretched, and I think it comes in on it's like a flaps 3 setting rather than the full flaps to help balance the aircraft when it actually lands. So it comes in a lot quicker than it's supposed to, but the flaps on flaps 3, I think it is, stop the airplane from bouncing backwards.
So that was sort of obviously the issues they got when they started stretching it and whatever, and maybe that played into the popularity of it a little bit. And obviously sort of that 99s into early 2000s, obviously what went on with New York aviation obviously suffered massively, and Boeing sort of suffered accordingly on orders of that variant of it.
There was quite a few carriers as well who were going back to sort of mid-80s sort of thing, where oil became plentiful again, going back to this oil crisis, what they had. Because oil were plentiful again, it wasn't really expensive to buy fuel either, and they were reverting back to the old DC-8s and things like the TriStars and what have you, just because they didn't have to replace them, because they could still use them. They were still perfectly serviceable planes, and they weren't old enough to be retired, and they didn't have to buy new planes as well. So maybe that was one reason as well why that particular 757 wasn't that successful. And like you said, though, about the length of it, I mean, you see them now, they're very long and thin, aren't they? Now they look very long now. So yeah,
definitely a lot longer now. And it's great to see. I think it was designed on. I think Boeing sort of jumped the gun with it, because I think Boeing sort of thought, well, the 757-200 is quite successful. We'll do a stretch version and see what happens. And obviously the orders didn't come in as they would do, and it's like, oh, actually, do you know what? Maybe it's too much plane or too long a plane sort of thing. But obviously, it's very popular with the American airlines of United and obviously Continental before the merger. Delta have still got theirs. Then in the UK here, in Europe, I think it's just like Condor, I think it is. And I don't know if Arkia in Israel have got theirs still. But there's not too many floating around in Europe, only for like Condor. And obviously, most of the Condor ones are ex-Thomas Cook ones. So, I
mean, going between the 200 and the 300, they've still got the same engines. They've still got these RB211 engines. Now, looking at the, I've just got some statistics in front of me now and the weight ratios and things like that. You're looking at, I don't know, 115, 123. You look at another 8,000 kilos. And then you've got another between 50 and 60 passengers on this stretch version. I think it would lose its performance as well, wouldn't it? If it was fully loaded, fully fueled, fully loaded, maximum takeoff weight. It ain't getting out of Innsbruck Airport, is it? That's the thing with it.
Yeah.
So maybe it would have lost some of its performance.
I think so. I think that's the case. Jumping back from the 300, we will come back onto that shortly. But there's quite a few 200 versions, which I think a couple that I didn't even know about. So you got the standard, production freighter, which was designed to purely be a freighter and nothing else. Quite a few of those were built, 80 in total. The likes of UPS, are big users of the pure freighter 757s. This was launched in 1987 with UPS being the launch customer targeted at the overnight package delivery market. The freighter can hold up to 15 ULD containers or unit load device containers or pallets on its main deck for a volume of up to 6,600 cubic feet. So the maximum payload it can carry is 87,700 pounds, which is 39,800 kilos. And it's got a maximum takeoff weight of 255,000 pounds. So it's not got as much of a range either, 3,150 nautical miles, but 80 aircraft of these sort of things. Of course, the rest of the freighters that we know have been converted from airliners to freighters as well, which is why you see a lot more sort of them than you do the pure freighters that were built. We've also got the 757-200 combi version, or designated M, which is a convertible version capable of carrying cargo and passengers. So a bit like the 737 that you see with the combi stuff. But yeah. So
yeah, just on those conversions, 128 have been converted into freighters up until June 2021, just to sort of give you a figure on that.
Yeah. The just trying to read through my notes here, just seeing what I've typed up here. Yeah, so the 757-200 combi had the cargo door on the forward port side of the aircraft, and airlines such as Nepal Airlines operated the aircraft as well. I'm not entirely sure how many were actually built. Never found a number for that, so I don't. I'll tell a lie. Other airlines were Air Transport Services, National Airlines, and North American Airlines. So it was not a popular plane in regards to what happened. But in 2018, Nepal Airlines retired their 757-200 combi, and were trying to sell it for a price of $7 million. No one wanted it. Then $5.4 million. Nobody wanted it. And then $4.2 million. Nobody wanted it. So Nepal Airlines basically bought it out of retirement and flew it once again to sort of maintain the value of it, hoping that somebody would buy it eventually. And then, of course, you've got the as Steve mentioned, the passenger to freighter versions, which we obviously don't need to go into because it speaks for itself. We'll take a quick pause and go through some of the comments here. Ian, if you'd like to run through them. Actually, before we do, Rob Brown, I noticed this one earlier, and we're going to get you to do it. If you'd like to do it in a Scottish accent.
Cheers, Rob.
You're not doing it, are you?
No.
I'm too giggly.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me just take a mouthful of thistles and I might be able to do it. I couldn't do a Scottish accent. Well. No, I can't do it.
let me go and drag my mum in. She'll do
we
it.
had TFAAK at Presswick regular for 3 weeks. Former Air Force One. Forget it.
Brilliant.
You sounded like one of those voiceover blokes, you know, when someone wants to keep anonymous in the on TV. That's what you sounded like just now.
There you go. It's a new job for me there.
Yeah, we wanted to hide his identity, so we're going to call him in. Well, you know. But yes, very good for that one. If you'd like to carry on in the normal...
I will carry on with the comments, yeah. So to Jack Rolls, we had the TFAAK at Presswick, regular for the last 3 weeks. Former Red Force One of Iron Maiden, the Book of Souls tour, which was a fantastic looking
where
plane.
did that go, Steve?
Well, it arrived from Reykjavik and then went to Dubai and then went back and then... I don't know where it went when it left. Probably back to Dubai, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, is that where it is now?
Jack will be able to tell you. I'll be honest. Once it leaves, I don't care. Once I get my photo, I don't care where it goes.
Yeah, that's fair enough, isn't it? Yeah.
But you have to read Jack's comment in your Dorset accent, I'm afraid. Everything else is fine.
Let's go through. Let's whiz through some of these ones.
Right. Let me quickly go through. Right. So, good. Thanks, Jack. Ian, do you dare take my car to where you live, or will you nick the wheels off it? I'm not even going to comment on that. Google pen with them. And we don't do things like that around here. Talking of Ed Force One, Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden flew the 757 commercially for Astraeus Airlines as well. Yeah, very talented guy. I bet he couldn't land while he was playing guitar. And let's hope that you catch the 757 at Heathrow, Steve. And that's from Jack.
I've had one at Frankfurt on the ground. I've never actually caught one in flight yet, not knowingly. So that would be amazing to actually see one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think who flies a 757. Do Icelanders still fly into Heathrow?
Yeah, there was going to be one on Monday, but I slept in, so it never happened.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying actually. Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, Tom, you've got the rarest of the lot, the Honeywell one, according to Jack.
Indeed. It's coming onto your screen right now.
It's a shame it was cloudy that day because it came over Bournemouth coast, but it was proper cloudy, unfortunately.
Yeah, lovely playing that. Just a quick one here. Did Rob Brown was saying, did the RB211 not start life intended for the TriStar? And did it not nearly break Rolls-Royce? I don't know about the TriStar. I know it nearly broke Rolls-Royce, and I think every engine they've developed since has nearly broke them, hasn't it? I think they run it on a really tight shoestring, don't they? You three are the best, and this podcast is the best. Cheers for that, Jack. I'll send you your $500 post. I've got a few 300s. Arika of Israel are onto the 320 and 21 Neos. Okay, right. That's a few 300s. Mark Jones, good evening, guys. I'm watching on my TV again. The 757 is amazing, and so is this podcast. But it's not as amazing as that TV yours, Mark Jones.
Yeah,
is that the 79-incher, I think it was, wasn't it?
Grown again.
It's impressive, that. Jack saying maybe back. I'll keep you guys posted. And where is Joe Lingus hiding, Tom?
Joe Lingus is not with us this evening. He's unfortunately had something come up, and he messaged us earlier to say that he wouldn't be with us this evening, but he will be back next week.
Yeah. And that's what we're up to with the comments at the moment. I do apologise for the Scottish accent, Rob. I'll practice my Jimmy Cranky for next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. We'll just get onto some pictures that has been sent to us. First one is, of course, from Ian.
That's beautiful. It's just a shame the engine cowling's got a grey bit on.
Yeah. Well, especially when you consider what Iceland Air have done to their aircraft recently as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, you can see from that the steep angle where it's taking off, can't you?
Yep, that's the angle right there that it's taken off. It's, I mean, even that is just to, like you say, to give it more, of a angle to get up into the sky as quickly as it can to save fuel and everything else, which is again the wonderful performance of the aircraft that that makes it as iconic as it does.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love
So
that plane.
wonderful picture there of Hecla Aurora taken at Manchester.
Manchester.
From Ian.
Yeah.
And we've had this one sent to us from Ryan Boma. And this was taken, I believe, at the launch of Northern Pacific, which is a new American airline that will operate the 757. So nice little picture again.
Yeah.
I
like the
sort
raccoon
of
cockpit.
like it and I don't like it at the same time.
I quite
It's
like
got,
it. It's a classy livery.
It's got Air Canada vibes, hasn't it?
I like the black and white of it. It's giving me New Zealand Air vibes, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure whether I like the bandit thing around the windows up front, to be quite honest. I do like it. I don't know. Yeah. I think that's nice.
That.
I do think it's nice. Yeah.
Really nice. If you want us to show your pictures or footage throughout the evening, then, like I said, do get your messages in to us on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and we'll get them shown as the evening goes on. I can't speak today. It's all over the place. Anyway, so let's move back onto the 757. Now, there's a few different variants of the 757. I know we've got the most famous one of all, which is Air Force 2. Of course, the designated C-32, which I was lucky to see. I will get the video of that. I've just remembered. I will get the video of that from Nuki. You've got that, and of course, there's quite a few other sort of military types. Steve, I imagine you've done your homework. Do you want to go through some of the different variants?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say these 757s are getting used by Mexico and Argentina for moving around their presidents, and even NASA have used one for doing research work. And New Zealand Army, they've got 2 of them still operational, so they've had quite a kind of prestigious usage. Well, like Mexico and Argentina is just the tip of the iceberg. Saudi Arabia was in there, and sort of some fairly less sort of big hitting countries, but they obviously maybe like the steep takeoff climb of it is less of a security risk as well. Like if you've got someone who's up to no good or whatever, and these planes are rocketing up at a real sharp angle, it's got to be a lot safer than a 747 coming out at a slightly less steep angle, isn't it? On that point of view,
I think the fact as well that they could land, like you're saying, pretty much anywhere. I think it was the Royal Australian Air Force were the first ones to land one in Antarctica. I think it was on an ice shelf or something in Antarctica. But that just goes, you can fly them from places like Saudi Arabia right down to Antarctica, and it doesn't make any difference to, the actual plane. It can perform in all weathers, can't it?
I was surprised when it all kicked off on that day in September. They didn't put the president on the 757 for that very reason. Versatility of where they could have landed and sort of the options.
Yeah, very true.
Obviously, a 747 is not overly inconspicuous, is it? Whereas the 75, we could have got anywhere they fancied and any sort of time they fancied.
Absolutely. Well, this is what I caught from Nuki Airport back in
June.
Was it June? Whenever the G7 summit was.
Yeah, it was June last year.
June 13th. Yes, I remember the day. Won't remember the date of it, but I remember the day I got severely burnt to an absolute crisp.
Oh, yeah, you were struggling that night, weren't you, on the show? I remember.
I struggled big time. I've still got the effects of it now. Really, is like from my forehead, because that was blistered like no tomorrow.
Oof.
So I suffered big time to go and get these aircraft. I didn't think it was going to be that hot, but it turns out it actually was. But we'll play it with the sound anyway, and go from there. So, yeah, as I said, this was Air Force 2 that went off to Heathrow with Joe Biden after Air Force 1 had just taken off to go and have afternoon tea with the Queen before the aircraft left for, I believe it was Brussels. I think the next, soon after. So this is one of the ones powered by Pratt and Whitney engine as well. So this was a really, really cool catch. Like Air Force One was cool, but because I'm a 757 lover of the plane, I'm a huge fan of it. This was even cooler to get. And you sort of get an understanding for its takeoff power as well. So really, really cool to see this.
Yeah, it certainly didn't use up much runway, did it, before it left?
It didn't. And if you thought, Nuki's got a large enough runway as it is anyway. But yeah, when you have a look at, the 747 itself didn't take up much either. So it was quite cool to see. But yeah, paid massively for it. But yeah, so you've got different variants, and of course, Ian, there's one in particular that you are interested in, which of course we've mentioned many times, which is what's going to be a former 2E 757 that is being converted into a test bed for the what will be the new Tempest aircraft.
Yeah, absolutely. I think is it Excalibur they're going to call it? They're going to name it Excalibur. Yeah.
That's the designated name for it. Yeah.
I'm praying because they're actually building this just down the road from where I live down in Wharton, the new Tempest. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that they'll base this 757 here down at Wharton, and hopefully we'll be able to catch it. So that'll be fantastic if it's based down here. I don't even think it takes years to develop, sort of a warplane, doesn't it? So I don't even think they're up to the point yet where they actually need the 757. But I think that'll be fantastic if it gets brought here and stays here. Because the runway is big enough to. We've had an Antonov 124 and we've had 747s in, so I'm damn sure we can have a 757 in there as well. So I've fingers crossed for that. Yeah,
it's going to take a massive overhaul, I think, for that 757. So it probably won't be ready yet for at least another few sort of years.
I would say a couple of years minimum. They'll rip all the insides out and fill it full of computers, won't they? And God knows what else.
That's it. So, and they'll paint it up with. Yeah. I think the paint is going to be the interesting part as well. What they'll paint it up with, whether they'll put it into Air Force colours or whether they'll just probably have it as an all-white aircraft. It's just a test bed.
Yeah, if they're going to do a full revamp on plane, I would imagine that they're going to stick it. They'll put it in. They'll paint it grey, won't they? I'm sure they will. I'm sure they've got enough tins of grey paint down at Wharton. They can spare a few, can't they, for the test bed? Definitely. I think. I'm just thinking when they were like testing tornadoes and typhoons and things like that, they do paint them pretty much a bland colour because they put things on the outside and markers on them and things like that, don't they? So yeah, I'm sure they'll just paint it grey, won't they? And
I would think they'll paint it grey, and then they'll probably just chuck they'll put some like laser pads on there as well for the Tempest to. Yeah.
I would imagine so. They might even give it an Air Force designation. We know we ZZ number or something like that. We'll have to see, won't we? I'm sure they will.
Absolutely.
So that'll be cool.
We'll just bring. I think Steve's back now. Yes, he is. There he is. So Steve, you got any thoughts on this Tempest test bed plane that's obviously once a 2E aircraft?
Well, no, it's obviously great that it's not just going to sit in a junker's yard in Spain or whatever, and it's getting a new lease of life. And obviously, the 757s will continue that little bit longer in the sky. And that, what's its sort of main purpose? I've not read too much up on it, to be honest.
So it's going to be a avionics and sort of laser testbed for BAE Systems' sort of newest concept plane, which is the Tempest aircraft. So think of it as, I mean, Ian, like at Wharton, they do quite a bit, didn't they? Do you remember when they sent it? Was it a Gulfstream up? And they had
From
like,
Wharton. Yeah, we used to get those Drakens here as well.
Yeah, Bournemouth's absolutely awash with those.
Yeah, we used to have them up here as well. Yeah,
Cobham Drakens. Yeah.
Yeah. They used to chase them around all over Gaff.
I think I remember a conversation that you and I had, Ian, where they sent up like it was a Gulfstream, or they sent up something, and then they sent up like Typhoons after it or something. Like
yeah, that was the it was they call them Drakens now, don't they? But what I forget who had them before. What the names were before.
Was it
Cobham ones.
Cobham.
Oh, the Cobham ones.
Yeah.
Not the Gulfstreams. I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, the Cobham.
Falcon 50s they would have been.
Yeah, Falcons. Yeah.
Did
They send them, and they sent Typhoons up, don't they? They were doing that when they were developing. They did it with Tornadoes as well when they were developing the new generation laser guidance for RAF and what have you. Royal Saudis, they used them as well for when they were doing their Tornadoes with the new guidance systems there. Yeah.
So I imagine at the same time, what they'll do is I mean, you've seen obviously the video I shared just then with the Honeywell 757 with the mount on the front of the plane. I imagine what they'll do is they'll probably do something very similar, put like a laser onto the plane itself. So do you remember seeing like the old photos of like the 707s with the long droopy nose because they had like a radar on there or like a laser?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
I imagine they'll probably try and convert it into something like that, which I think would be really cool to see.
Yeah, that'd definitely be a spot, wouldn't it? That one.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Definitely.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I'm sure it'll drop down to Bryce and what have you at some point.
And of course, another version of the 757, which nobody sort of mentions or sort of talks about, is the test bed that they had for the F-22 Raptor. And of course, they attached to the top of the plane the wings. I think it was the wings of what would be for the Raptor. They attached them to the top of the fuselage. So, like with the Typhoon, you've got what do you call them at the front?
Canards.
Canards.
Yeah.
It almost looked like the 757 had canards at the front, but they were actually the wings for the F-22 that were being developed. So it was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, that was smart.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it would have been good to see that.
So it was the first 757 built ever, like number one off the line, and it was used in 1998 as a test bed for the Lockheed F-22 Raptors avionics and sensor integration. So it's almost a bit like what we're going to be doing over here with the 757 is what the Americans did with it back in 1998, which used it as a test bed. So the aircraft was fitted with a canard above its cockpit to simulate the jet fighter's wing sensor layout, along with a forward fuselage section with radar and other systems. So part of the plane was actually whacked onto the 757. So in order for it to be tested, so it's I will see if I can find it. I'll see if I can find a picture. But if you'd like to talk amongst yourselves,
yeah, they certainly show some versatility, don't they? The 757 to be able to do all that kind of thing, as well as the cargo, as well as obviously the passenger flights and that.
Yeah. Well, they are. They're definite all-rounders, aren't they? And I think particularly with military side of it, I think out of a single-bodied aircraft, a single-aisled aircraft for such a narrow body, I think they've probably got the best performance on any engine. And I think the maneuverability and things like that must be pretty. I bet you can throw them around a little bit, can't you? And otherwise, why wouldn't you just use a 737 or something like that?
Well, I think you alluded to it earlier on that Boeing are sort of pinning their hopes on the 737-10 MAX, aren't they, to bridge a lot of the gap, and then they've already got their Dreamliners to sort of bridge the rest. And I did read earlier on that they're sort of slowing down any thoughts of remodeling it because their figures show that they have to sell 1,500 737 Maxes to break even on the project, and obviously the 757, a re-engined one, are they going to shift that sort of number? And I guess with the Dreamliner and that knocking around, it's an economical sort of toss of the coin, isn't it?
Yeah. I would certainly say. Oh wow!
There you go.
That's a weird looking thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So you've got the canard on the front, Which
Can you zoom in on front, Tom?
I can.
You can see front of F-22 there, can't you?
So that's the front of the F-22 there.
Yeah.
And then the laser guided sort of thing there, which will go onto it, and then the canards, which have basically it's to replicate the wing layout for the F-22. So a pretty cool plane, and then like I said, it was the first one off the line. I think it was this one, ever built. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. That
Yeah,
I'd love to see something like that.
Yeah,
would be pretty cool. I think if you managed to see something like that, with like the Tempest nose and whatever, like whatever that would look like, and it'd be interesting to see what they do with it.
I think the Tempest looks quite like an S-22 in places, doesn't it? So I can't imagine it looking dissimilar to that. To be fair, that's really smart.
I think it looks really cool. Actually, I think it's a nice little thing to throw on there. And of course, like I said, it's got loads of sort of things here, and it looks very strange from like front on and stuff. It does look very strange as well.
Yeah, it does.
But
absolutely.
That's what I imagine.
Frankenstein, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I imagine they'll probably do with that, is to recreate that kind of thing. I think if that worked for Boeing, I think BAE will probably look into maybe trying to do that as well.
Definitely.
I think.
You're right there, Ian.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to get myself comfortable. I can't.
Fidget arse. That's what it is. It's got the signs of the fidget arse or kebab arse or one of the two.
No, right, we're all good.
Wonderful. So we'll go through some comments while we're here. This is when I showed the picture of, the video of the Air Force 2. Jack Roll says, I did that at Bournemouth Air Show once. I got so burnt, I looked like a lobster.
Lobster rolls, one of my favourite food.
Lobster rolls.
Yeah.
Bit of seafood dressing.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Rob Brown Planes Point says the US Air Force Special Operations Command used C-32 also. The secret Men in Black stuff, not much about what they do online. Had one pass through Prestwick and all the window shades were down. Jack Roll says Cobham and the original name started of FRA Aviation.
Flight refueling aviation, that would have been, yeah.
Yeah. And then he's comparing what we've just seen on that 757 to Spaceship Enterprise.
Very nice. Don't ever watch any of that kind of stuff, but very nice.
Yeah. As we mentioned, Iceland there, Jack Rolls goes with Rylantic Air, now not Icelandic Air. Ryanair have taken over. But that's, of course, in reference to the new livery.
Oh, yeah, well.
But yes. So let's have a talk about the types of airlines and, of course, the safety record of the plane as well. So we'll go safety record first. The aircraft's been involved in 39 aviation occurrences. Not, that's how they pronounce it, as of February 2020. And throughout its near 40-year career, they've only lost 11 planes. Or airlines have only lost 11 757s out of the 1,050 that were ever built, which makes it probably one of the safest aircraft ever built, I would say.
Definitely. I mean, you've got to look at how these planes sort of were lost. I know through watching like a crash investigation, they sort of always try and pin the blame, don't they, on the pilot. It's always down to pilot error, whether it is or whether it's not. It always seems to be pilot error. So maybe out of the 11, what they've lost statistically, it could be a human factor rather than a manufacturing default. So it does make it a very safe plane, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You think they've been going 40-odd years, well, coming up to 40 years. That's obviously no accident's a good accident, but the records are fairly favourable, especially when you sort of compare it to others.
Yeah, absolutely. So out of the 39 instances, there's been 11 hull loss accidents, which are either crash landings or obviously incidents that have happened. 9 incidents and 12 hijackings resulted in a total of 575 fatalities. Of course, a majority of those coming from, of course, the ill-fated 9/11 attacks. Rob Brown, of course, makes a very interesting point as well. Of course, one of the more famous instances that have happened as well, which is the Britannia Airways plane that didn't crash land in Genoa. It was Girona in Spain, which then broke into 3 parts. There's famous pictures everywhere of looking at the plane that broke into 3 parts. And I think that's probably one of the. I can't think of any other UK airlines that have had incidences with 757. I can't think off the top of my head. I think it's just Britannia. I think the rest have been sort of outside in Europe and sort of back in the early days. But deemed as one of the safest aircraft I think ever built. As well, more sort of other sort of instances that have happened. If we take away, the 9/11 incidents, you got the hijackings as well, where a hijacked Xiamen Airlines 737 collided with the China Southern Airlines 757 on the runways of Guangzhou International Airport, killing 46 people out of 122. Other ones are due to pilot error, American Airlines Flight 965, which crashed into a mountain in Colombia. And of course, the other one, which was the mid-air collision of Delta Flight 611, which collided with a Bashkirian Airlines Tupolev Tu-154.
It's just obviously it's unfortunate rather than actual kind of engineering failure, those sort of things.
It does make him sound a really, really safe aircraft then, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's more, as Steve said, like just now, it's more to do with the unfortunate side of it than it is to do with the fact that it's an engineering issue.
Especially when you see the problem they've had with the Maxes, it's nowhere close to that kind of thing. It just happens to be that aircraft that's been involved in that incident rather than a result of that aircraft. If you sort of get what I mean by that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And aircraft on display, there is just one at the moment, but I imagine a few 757s will be on display in the near future, which of course is the Delta Airlines 757-200, registered as November 608 Delta Alpha, which currently sits at the Delta Flight Museum in Atlanta, Georgia, in the US. Sits in its original livery of the Delta Widget livery, which is one of my favorite liveries ever. So, yes. Apart from that, like I said, it is one of the safest aircraft ever built. 1,049 aircraft were built, not 1,050, as I said. Of course, production ending in October 2004, with the last aircraft going to, I think it was Shanghai Airlines. I believe. So
yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I was just going to chirp in and say, out of those 1,050, give or take, 508 of them are still operational. That was again of June 2021, but there's still a few knocking around, and what have you.
Still quite a few going around. So it's they're still a highly popular plane. The likes of your Jet 2s, I think they're very popular at the moment with sort of your UK holiday package airlines, such as Monarch, when they were around, had quite a few. Even though they were on the verge of, I think they retired theirs actually before the retirement, before they ceased operations. But the likes of TUI operated a good handful of them based around the UK, like Bristol, Manchester. I think there's a few up sort of in Scotland as well, I believe. And Jet 2 obviously being the other ones. Britannia had theirs. First Choice, Thomas Cook. My Travel, JMC, for those that want to go way back, with their wacky green livery, which was awesome. Other than that, you've got your flying colours. If you're going to go even further than that, Flying Colours had theirs. And Caledonian is another one. British Airways had theirs. So it was very common and very popular among sort of the UK aviation industry that the 757 played a massive part in flying people off on their holidays, basically.
Yeah, it's a shame that your best chances these days are the DHL or the Iceland Air. You're sort of unlikely to see too many of them knocking around, are you now? Especially with TUI giving theirs up.
No, I mean I can list a huge amount of European airlines that I've seen over the years through living like near Heathrow and things like that. And like you said just then, the chances of seeing 757s now will limit you to seeing FedEx at East Midlands or Manchester. I believe Ian have the odd one going in there, but obviously for evening operations.
Yeah, FedEx. I think that's it from Manchester. That's all we get.
Yeah,
never get to see it.
Then you've got like DHL, which go into East Midlands, and sort of various other airports like Heathrow as well. I'm trying to think cargo wise. I think Swift Air is one I saw at East Midlands as well. It's quite a rare one to see. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head really for cargo airlines. But passenger ones, you're going to get Iceland Air on the very rare occasion. Just trying to think who else.
I put one in.
Cygnus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cygnus Air. Yeah, that's another Spanish cargo airline. But yeah, obviously, apart from, like I said, your TUIs, not your TUIs now because I don't have them. Jet 2s and everyone else.
Isaac also makes a good point with did First Choice own a 757? Because I flew to Salou a couple of times with First Choice, and I don't think they flew 737s out of Manchester, and it's making me think now. It was years ago, and I was a lot younger. Whether it was a 757 I was flying on.
Yeah, First Choice did have 757s, which I believe were incorporated through. I think it was. No, I think they were their own, weren't they? I'm sure they were.
Yeah. First Choice, yeah. Later, I think they ended up becoming TUI and God knows what else, didn't they?
I am just going to
Thomas Cook and what have you.
Yeah, I think it was Thompson. I think Thompson ended up owning First Choice. So it became Thompson Airlines, I think, or something like that, didn't it? So I think I remember booking through Thompson at one point and flying on a First Choice plane. I'm thinking it was 757s rather than, because they weren't 737s. They never had them. They certainly weren't Airbus. Must have been.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think First Choice ever got their own one, like their own planes delivered new to them. I think they all came from the merger with Air 2000.
Which sounds about right. It sounds right. That yeah.
They had a big fleet of 757s. Even sort of going into the likes of Bristol, which would have been really cool to see. I do remember seeing the First Choice 767 up at Gatwick, but unfortunately I've lost my pictures. I've lost my pictures of Gatwick, and I'm absolutely gutted because it was really cool to see with the winglets and everything. When
was the last time you saw one, either of you, apart from the Honeywell?
Mine would have been the Iceland Air down at Manchester.
Yeah.
Apart from the Honeywell one, the last one I saw was DHL at East Midlands.
Yeah.
And
so fun fact, to tick it off.
Fun fact was the one that, or some of the ones that I saw, there was one particular DHL 757 that I saw at East Midlands that I think I then shared with you guys in the chat. I believe I may even have the video for that, so I'll try and find that. and you'll see why I sort of pointed it out. But yeah, so I think the DHL 757 was the last one I saw.
Yeah. Just going to answer Isaac's question now. No, I didn't ever see it at Bournemouth, the first choice there, Isaac.
I'd like to see the car. I'd like to go down to East Midlands, actually, and I like watching when Stewie Bird does it, and he does his evening shows in summer. I think it's a fantastic place to spot in summer. Looks really nice.
Yeah, you get the cargo locks in as well, don't you?
Yeah. To get that, you get cargo. So it's not cargo locks. It's the other ones, isn't it? Blue and white ones. Cargo.
Cargo Logic.
Yeah, that's the guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get all sorts in there. I mean, you're getting a lot of like West Atlantic planes going in as well, aren't you? They're ATRs and God knows what 737s are going in. I think Tom got that 737-800, Tom, didn't you? Down at
was that West Atlantic?
Yeah, the West Atlantic one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not a very good shot of it, but I did get it.
yeah, it was a fantastic plane. That
wasn't that the one down at Exeter as well? You had the other week. Well, probably November time. What was that one down at Exeter?
Christ, I mean, I've slept since then. No,
Challenge Island Express or something.
No, it escapes me. I can't think. Oh, God, no, I can't think.
No, not to worry.
No, I can't think off the top of my head. But here we go with some East Midlands footage. So this is the last sort of proper one I saw. It's going to be quite a short one, this one, but then I'll put on the second video. So East Midlands is very good for Delta 757 operations. You can already see there the tails look like in the background there with the Kalita 747s and that.
Yeah, but so you don't realise just how kind of nimble and small they are strapped to those massively ridiculous engines, do you? Until you see the footage of them.
The other one I want to show is this one because it gives you a good idea then for the type of engine that it has. So this was taken at East Midlands Aero Park, which when it's open is a fantastic spotting place. This is the same aircraft I've just shown you, but it's got a completely different noise and you can hear it straight away. But watch the engines because they're not like the usual ones. So you can see it's got the nozzle at the back. They're not like the standard ones you see nowadays.
Well, what engines are them? Because they're still Rolls-Royce engines, aren't they?
They're Rolls-Royce engines, but those are the original. If I go back to there, those are the original RB211 535C engines.
Oh, okay, right.
And another interesting, just not for me, it's interesting. You see the reg?
Yeah.
That belonged to British Airways, and it's maintained that reg ever since.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's how you know it's an XBA aircraft, is if you type that registration in, it will come up with the history of the plane. And British Airways used to have 757s with this engine on it before they got the upgraded ones. Nerdgasm.
It's funny because would that make that DHL and registered in UK? Because I didn't think they were registered in UK.
You got so Delta. DHL UK, who owned that plane. So it's like they've got their own UK division in order to. It's like with European cargo.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's like that. It's like DHL. I think it was tomorrow. I think tomorrow actually. Take delivery of their first 777 freighter.
Oh, okay.
Under UK register, and that will be based at East Midlands.
Oh.
So it's another one to keep an eye out on.
Definitely. Yeah, that sounds really cool. That.
Yeah, it looks amazing, and I'd love to be able to.
Yeah, I'll have to make a trip down to East Mids.
It's well worth it.
Kind of central
during the
for all of
summer.
us.
It's a pain in
During
the
the
arse to
summer,
get
it's
to,
not
isn't it?
Hey,
It's a pain in the arse to get to, though. Even from up here, it's hard work.
do you know it's not as bad as you think. I don't know what it's like coming from where you live, but from
Yeah.
where I am, it wasn't too bad because it's all just motorways, and then you come off, and then that the hotel that we stayed at was literally there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
I have to have a look.
It's just going through Birmingham scares me.
But yeah, it was crazy. Like going during the summer is probably your best bet. I wouldn't go any time before because it's never busy during the day.
No, I'd like to go around about June, July. I'd like to go when you get the light evenings and get some of
Yeah.
those evening landings because I think they're fantastic. Because you get a really nice view at lights on runway as well, don't you? And
The
you
old
get
golden
the
hour.
lights
Video shows
on
you.
your fuselages and stuff, and I
Yeah,
think
the
they look
video showed
fantastic in
you.
that light.
Yes. Just a quick couple here. Margaret Barrett says, "Hey guys, very sorry I'm late to the party. Ended up having to work."
Hello, mate.
No,
All right.
Brand new name. Haven't seen this one before. So from Glory to Grounded. Hello to you. Thank you for tuning in. He asks, or they ask, I should say, shouldn't assume. They ask, have you seen the Mammoth Aero operations out of Cardiff with the flight service Airbus A330-200s? Steve, you've seen.
I've seen the plain white one, and I've seen the red and white one, but operating out of Bournemouth, not Cardiff there. But yeah, beautiful aircraft to see. If they've chosen Cardiff, and like lucky you if it's your local airport, so you really are a thing of beauty.
It does basically the same as what the 340s do, which is believe it's like PPE runs and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
and back. So yeah, Cardiff have got their own ones now. So yeah, pretty cool.
yeah, no, it's great they're expanding.
Yeah, but thank you for the comment. Welcome to the show. Anyway, so we've got. We'll try and wrap up in a second as we look through the remaining bits of history with 757. But we'll go through the list of operators that it had to begin with. I'm not going to mention all of them. I'll just mention some of the obscure ones and some of the ones that were more common. So, no surprise that Aer Lingus operated the 757 very late on. These were leased, and these were ex-Finnair aircraft as well. That's how much I know. So they used to belong to Finnair, and then Aer Lingus took them on as their own for about a year and a half, I think it was, or maybe 2 years, for flights over to America, and then retired them. I even think Jer got them on video.
Was he screaming at them?
Probably. Probably.
I'm sure Jack will jump in the comments with his phrase. I'll save myself doing it.
Jesus. Yeah, one for Ian, who may not know this, or he may well do. They operated two of them, Air Baltic.
Oh, that's interesting.
Air Baltic operated them. I will just grab a quick picture so that we can see that. Looks quite nice, actually. I won't lie. In the sort of the standard, well, what is now the old livery. If I grab just douche.
Well done, sausage.
Oh, that's really nice.
Oh yeah, beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really nice. I love Baltic, mate. Air Baltic. I watched a lot of Air Clips videos of them with the like delivery videos of the Air 220s and things like that, and they're fantastic videos. Yeah, I love them planes.
So I'll leave that on screen for everyone to admire. But yeah, Jack Rolls there doing the Jer impression of "By the Lord Jesus," the noise out that 757 beat Jesus. So who else operated 757? So Air Berlin operated them, Air China operated them, Air Finland, Air Greenland, Air India apparently operated 757. There's no picture though, so I can't show that. Air Italy, Air Poland, Air Transat. If we keep going down, Allegiant operated them. American Airlines, of course, as we know. A name that was mentioned earlier, and I will grab the picture for this in case nobody knows who it is. I believe it was Rob Brown who pointed this one out. So if I get rid of that.
From Glory to Grounder, we're asking, Tom, if are there the IB 211535s on that 757, the Baltic one?
The Baltic one is the upgraded E4s, not.
The 535s were the one on the DHL plane, weren't they?
The 535Cs, which were the originals.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
E4s are the upgraded ones to what we hear now. So it's very rare you'll find a 757 nowadays with the original 535Cs on them. But yeah, so very quickly, I think Rob Brown was the one that mentioned about this. I'm going to just find that comment. I'm sure he did. Did he do it? I'm fairly certain he mentioned. There we go. Best flight on the 757, Ambassador Airlines, Tenerife to Glasgow. Plane was nearly empty and a full row to myself and 3 breakfast. For those who don't know who
I think
Ambassador
you
are.
mentioned that flight previously. That sounded absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just
That's
pure greed,
Ambassador.
isn't it?
That takes you right back.
Nice bit going on as well.
Takes you all the way back. Yeah, nice little cheat line there. Everyone
That's
knows
lovely, that.
Big fan of it.
Yeah, uniform on the engine. Perfect.
Love me a cheat line.
Pizza on the tail.
Other
What more could you ask for?
Another, let's have a look here. So Astraeus, as we mentioned earlier, operated 8 of them before ceasing operations in 2011. I actually flew with Astraeus, I should say, but I actually flew on a Flybe 737 that was leased by Astraeus. So technically, yes, I did fly with them, and no, I didn't at the same time. Avianca, I'm just going to literally run through quite a few here that I sort of can recognize. Blue Panorama of Italy, Britannia Airways, British Airways, British Midland. Anyone remember British Midland operating the 757?
I can't say I do,
Probably
but
seen
obviously, yeah.
This was one of the. So I'm not going to go through all of them because we'll be here all night. Otherwise, there's loads of operators that used to operate it and didn't operate it. But these were leased from Astraeus, and these were leased back in, I think it was about 2009, because I've got pictures of my own of them. And these were leased to basically cover for the demand. So there you go. Not in full colours, which I think a lot of people were hoping, but it's good enough.
That's CAC.
It is CAC. I had hoped when.
So what you're thinking, all that.
I remember thinking about it, reading about it, and I was like, I really hope they put it into full colours, and this was the best we got. It never went into full colours.
No, it's a shame. I'm within. It don't look amazing, does it?
No. It's better than what some hybrids would have, where it just have the titles and that's it. So,
yeah.
But yeah, British Midland, I think they leased, I think it was two of them, I think. Might be wrong. It says 4. Fair enough. It says 4. But I'll keep going through a few of them. Caledonian, Condor still operate them. Continental, now United, DHL. Dutch Bird, for anybody that remembers them, quite wacky colour scheme. Finnair, of course. Now, an interesting one, I did not know this, but apparently this is a freighter version. And this might surprise a few people. It surprised me because I've just seen the picture. And I saw it earlier, and I didn't think that was the case. However, it is the case. So, like I said, I'm not going to go through all of them because we will literally be here forever. And some of us need to leave. Gulf Air operated it. Gulf Air operated the 757. What do we think? I can't believe. Yeah, I've
the old school livery.
I've just seen what. Yeah, I've just seen. There we go. I'll put it up there. Jack Roll says, "I would love to go in a Dutch Bird." Dirty boy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like the old school livery on that. It's decent, really nice.
Yeah.
Didn't even know this happened. So I'm learning this more than anything else as well. It's quite nice to actually find, airlines that I didn't think actually operated it. Iberia operated it. Of course, Iceland Air still operate them. Jet2, of course. Just trying to run through here as much as I can. LTU of Germany. Mexicana, Monarch, FedEx, My Travel, North American, Northwest, Privilege, Royal Air Maroc, Royal Brunei, Singapore Airlines operated the 757, very short-lived. Thomas Cook, Titan, Transaero, Transavia, Turkmenistan, US Airways. I'm probably missing out a few here, but you get the gist. Varig, Uzbekistan, XL Airways, another UK operator that's now no longer with us, and Zoom Airlines of Canada, the all-blue fuselage, operated them. So yes, there you go. I will just get rid of that. Ryan Bomar has sent me a picture, so I'll grab that now. Controversial one. They'll try and keep politics away from it. But what do we think of Donald Trump's 757? All right, the silence says it all. No, really, what do we think?
Well, if it wasn't associated with him, and the tail looks a bit tacky, it's not a bad looking livery, is it? It's just obviously who it's associated with, and I don't like the T on the tail particularly.
No, so we'll try and keep,
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of that big red line going down side. I just don't think it looks right. Nah, it'd be an interesting spot though. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I bet it's kitted out nicely.
Bet it is.
There was a documentary, I think, of actually looking inside the plane, and it is kitted. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere, but it's nicely kitted out inside.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, we would literally be here all night talking about the 757. I'd love to be here all night talking about the 757, but we can't be here all night talking about the 757 because we need to start wrapping the show up.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, this evening has been a lot of fun in terms of our little look back at the 757, celebrating its first flight nearly 40 years ago, and giving it the credibility it deserves. Now, before we jump into everything else, can't just follow the show or me because I run the accounts. However, you can follow Steve and Ian, and I'll give you their stuff now. So you can follow Steve on Instagram if you so wish to, at Steve_Planes. Ian himself is also on there as well, so you can give him a follow as well with some wonderful pictures on there. You can follow Steve on Twitter as well if you wish to. Wonderful. Let's go through some of the last comments before we say goodbye. So, where did we get to on that one? Jack Rolls says, Tom, I won't let you down on the pics of the TUI Dreamliner. I'm waking up at 5 a.m. to get her. Rather you than me. I want my sleep.
Right. She's not into 11. What are you bothering for?
Unless you're planning on walking then, then maybe it's fair enough. Mark Jones left us. Completely didn't see that. Just seen a comment there. Mark Jones left us. Said, good night, everyone. Look forward to next week's amazing podcast. Yes, because Joe will be back with us. From Glory to Grounded. Never seen a BMI 757. It was around for a few months, I think, just to act as cover, because I think the A319s just didn't have enough capacity with the A320s as well. Didn't have enough capacity to sort of fulfill what was needed. So the 757 was like the next step up. Someone might know this one from Glory to Grounded again. Says, does some of the other 757s use the Pratt & Whitney 200s? Same as the Globemaster engines. Are they the same ones?
Oh, I'm not overly sure. I'll be quite honest. I don't know.
No.
The engines look a bit big for the T-17 to be 757 engines, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. But I believe Ryan Bomar turned around and said that is correct. So yeah, it is correct. Fair enough. I will take it. Rob Brown says, seen twice at Prestwick while Trump was the president. It was nice up close. And that's the Trump aircraft, I believe. Jack Rolls says, fantastic podcast as always. So thank you all. Martin Wooltridge says it needs a blonde toupee. Blonde, Steve. Blonde.
Well,
Was,
how about kind of grey blonde?
Sorry, just going back to what when they were talking about the Pratt & Whitney engines, there were a few varieties. There were the Pratt & Whitney 2037, Pratt & Whitney 2040, 2037, 2040, 2043. So there were a few different engine variants as well, yeah.
Wonderful. Ryan Bomar says, the best live stream out there. I had to, Tom. Sorry. Not acceptable. It's not a live stream. It's a fucking podcast.
Oh, hang on. There we go.
Yeah, see, it's definitely a podcast. I can't get used to the camera being like this. But yeah, definitely a podcast. But no, that's fine. We forgive you. We like you. Jack Roll says the old EasyJet livery was class.
Nothing to do with 757s, though, but thanks for that.
Yeah. Appreciate your input.
And Ryan Bomar with the last comment saying, yes, the ones that Delta use for their 757s. Wicked. All right, so we are done with another episode of the Departure Lounge podcast. Now we're at time part of the show where we do some shout-outs. If any of you have any shout-outs that are still watching, you want to give a shout-out to your friends, family, loved ones, etc., pets, us, whoever, get them into the chat now, and we will get them onto the screen as we do ours. So, as it seems to be tradition now, Ian, if you'd like to go first.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks to everyone who listened to us tonight. I hope you've all learned something. It's been an education. Yeah, thanks to all the new names as well, what have been appearing in the chat as well. It's always nice to have new people on board. And thanks to yourself, Tom, and you, Steve, for being part of this amazing podcast live stream. Thanks very much.
I'm going to take you off screen, I swear.
Well, podcast.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll put Ryan Bomar shouting out hot chicks that wear yoga pants.
He likes his yoga pants, does Ryan Bomar, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He likes
yeah,
his yoga
fetish,
pants.
isn't it?
Might make a special T-shirt for him. You never know.
Covered in chutney.
Wonderful. Steve, if you'd like to go ahead with yours.
Tom, Ian, as always, it's always a privilege to be on here and have a chat about aeroplanes and have a good old laugh doing it. And everyone in the chat tonight and who's watched, we appreciate you being here. And another one, Marco Barrett, gets a special one this week because he drew a picture of the A319 that I flew on the other week. And that's about me for this week. Oh, I know TN's just popped in. I think she had a 757 stat actually that she told me today. I'd never heard it before, so she's got 5 minutes to find that stat to put it in the chat.
Oh yeah, okay, interesting.
I didn't even know she were awake. I was trying to be quiet.
By the Lord Jesus.
So yeah, get on it, Tim, because I'd never heard of it. So
there is her comment. She says, "I want to say sorry to Steve, not anyone else, to Steve, because I fell asleep before I'll make it up for next week."
Well, it's fine. Just hit us with that stat before we go off air.
Yes. Also, no, that's not the one I was looking at first. Rob Brown Plain Spotted says, I take this is probably for Ian. Any recommendations for chutney since Valentine's Day is coming up shortly?
Yeah. You can make a sweetheart strawberry chutney.
He's been looking it up.
Rob. And you'll just bear with me.
He's looked it up already.
That's amazing.
That's what he was doing. I
The
was
fact
wondering
he's done homework on this is
Homework,
absolutely
yeah.
incredible.
like he
I wanted to
anticipated the
spread
question.
to serve on my
Oh, wow.
sweetheart turkey meatballs. There you go. So she's making sweetheart strawberry chutney, and she wants to spread it to serve on her sweetheart turkey meatball sliders. Make of it what you will. They're both savoury and sweet. I could have used barbecue sauce, but it felt like a cop-out. To me, strawberries seem like they should be in season for Valentine's Day because they're blah, 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 blah. Sweetheart strawberry chutney is delicious. Perfect compliment. Blah, 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 blah. Where's recipe? Oh, hang on. Oh, here we go. So you need 2 teaspoons of canola oil, 2 yellow onions peeled, cut in half, thinly sliced, a cup of frozen strawberries defrosted, obviously, 2 tablespoons of honey, 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, which is important, and 1/8 of a teaspoon crushed red pepper, because you don't want to make your sweetheart strawberry chutney too hot. Yeah,
Oh,
mix it all together, give it a stir, and rub it on your meatballs.
Love.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Wicked.
Absolutely brilliant.
You really are the chutney king, I swear.
Young
Brilliant.
TN's rocked in with a bit of information. Look,
Steve, you can read this one.
the Rolls-Royce engines produce 87 tons of thrust, and as such, it is classed as a heavy because of the wake turbulence it produces. Where she's found that out from, I have no idea, but top brass, well done.
Yeah, fantastic. Ryan, they're all coming in now. Ryan Beaumont says that strawberry conversation sounded dirty.
Well, for more information, tootsweet42.com. That's tootsweet42.com.
What have we become?
Oh, God. We
You can
really are the new
create
chutney
and
channel.
inspire.
Yeah. Have a look up the
I
chutney
think
channel.
One show, I think we'll give planes a rest and we'll just talk about food.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be nice.
Bit of a connoisseur, me.
Yeah. Do you want to see it? Yeah. Anybody want to see us talk about food? Do let us know. We'll try and make it as dirty and as fun as possible. But Jack Roll says speedy chutney on. Oh, I think it's supposed to be spreading. Chutney on your meatballs. Gotta love that.
Absolutely. Turkey sliders as well. You know, you can't knock them.
Especially when the dog licks it off.
Hasn't Jamie Oliver banned turkey sliders these days?
No, they're turkey twizzlers, aren't they?
That's all right then. Coming round here trying to make us eat healthy. Who does he think he is?
Yeah.
Shame his restaurant chains went out of business, didn't it? Couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke. Anyway.
Yeah, unlucky.
Yeah, Ryan Beaumont. Next up, we'll chat about hot dogs. Literally, I want to talk about food for about an hour and a half.
Yeah. Hot dogs in jogging pants.
Yoga pants in jogging pants. Yeah. We'll see. Anyway.
Plenty of them outside Pound Bakery up here.
Like a sausage in an alley.
Like what Ian said, which is throwing a sausage down the M40 or so there is. Jack Roll says, spread your beef curtains next with lamb sauce. And then Rob Brown hitting us with some more normality, which is BA bringing back food on board after flogging the old COVID excuse.
Good.
And then Tian says, sorry for falling asleep, Dad.
We're going to leave her. I mean, she came on from work. She was haggard, so I thought she would have slept all night, to be honest.
Work and go now. Welcome to the real world. It's hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Right, let's start. Let's wrap this up. I'm going to do some shout outs. I'm going to keep it nice and short for this week, and then we'll get to going. So, big thank you to everybody that's been watching. A big thank you to those that are new here. If you've enjoyed this evening and want to see some more, do consider subscribing. We are so close, but we just don't seem to be able to budge. We're on 959 subscribers. We're on the road to 1,000, so please help us out. Be massively appreciated. Excuse me. What was I going for then? So big thank you to Ian for providing some wonderful stats on, would you call it sweetheart
Chutney.
strawberry chutney or whatever it was?
Sweetheart chutney. Strawberry sweetheart chutney.
Fantastic. Your homework for next week is to come up with another Valentine's special.
Wow, there we go.
Yeah, but not chutney. I want it to be completely out of the box type thing. So the most obscure but like weird kind of Valentine's Day dish.
Can we come up with one each then? End of show.
End of show special. We'll do that.
One each.
The end of show special. One
Can
each.
I refer to the Urban Dictionary for inspiration?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have said that out loud. I was going to do that.
Oh, yeah.
We'll come up with a dish each that we can talk about at the end because I think that people love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
So big thank you to you, Ian, for your culinary knowledge this evening, as well as planes. And a big thank you to Steve for doing a wonderful job as per normal, and a big shout out to Jer, hoping everything is all right. And we look forward to having you
absolutely
next week. Couple more comments, and of course as well to NHS and frontline workers around the world, of course, and I'll keep it at that. So a couple more comments we'll just run through quickly. Rob Brown Plain Spotting says, awesome podcast, troops, have a good one, in a Scottish accent. Ian, over to you.
Oh, right, yeah. Shout out to all my fellow Av geeks out there. Keep JT8Ds alive in your heart. Oh, do apologise. That were Ryan Bournemouth's.
No, I meant the comment.
Yeah, you meant to do it. Scottish accent.
Hang on then. All right then. Awesome podcast, troops. Have a good one, in a Scottish accent.
What's this?
Happy Burns night for probably a couple of weeks ago as well, Rob.
Oh, he's turning in his grave, old Burns. Crikey.
Oh, it's like a diseased chicken. Wonderful. Jack Rowe says, sausage and chutney, the perfect combination, especially a bratwurst. Wonderful. Ryan Beaumont says, shout out to all my fellow Av geeks out there. Keep JT8Ds alive in your heart. What a great line that is. I love that. And then Jack Roll's ending the show with the Theresa May battered burger.
Well,
not one for the northern people.
I'm glad I look around to Jack's for tea.
Yeah, no. Absolutely not. Don't want to be eating out Margaret Thatcher. Anyway, right. So,
or Theresa May.
Wonderful. So we are going to say our goodbyes now. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching, everybody. We'll be back next week where Joe will join us again. And next week we are talking about planes that failed. Should be a very interesting topic of conversation. We are going to come up with a few, not too many, because I think we'll be here all night. Otherwise, there are a few. I've got my one over. I think we'll talk about one each. I think we'll keep it simple, one each for research purposes. So, we can talk about planes that were built that failed massively and were not around for very long. So we're going to do that as well. I'll quickly go into the poll that I completely forgot was up. 12 voters, which is good. Everyone loved the new intro. So lovely. Thank you very much. If you haven't done already, leave a like on the stream. But we are about to say our goodbyes. So who shall I take off first? Ian, if you'd like to say your goodbyes to everybody.
Yep. Thanks for watching, guys. Just a quick comment there from Ryan Bournemore. Will Joe have electricity next time? Only if he keeps rubbing the static out of those potatoes, Ryan. Thanks for all listening. See you next time. Bye.
Off he goes. I'll just quickly bring up more comments here. Jack Roll says, by the Lord Jesus, noise on that Scottish Ian be the Jesus. And then next week, Ian, you've got to wear a kilt and play the bagpipes. I mean, that's all you. I mean, I'm not up for that.
No.
I don't want to see Ian in a kilt. But yes, Steve, if you'd like to say goodbye to the people.
Well, cheerio everyone who's watched, especially one who I know watched for the first time tonight. I do appreciate that from you, and have a good week, everyone, and take care. Stay frosty.
Wonderful. And then all that's left for me to say is thank you, everybody, for watching this evening. Do tune in next week, Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. for some more fun and games, as well as plain talk thrown in as well. But for now, look after yourselves, continue to stay safe, and we will see you next Wednesday. Take it easy, everybody. Bye.